So welcome guys, welcome to PowerShell Titans again. And then today we are gonna see, constants and then read-only variables and data types and hash tables, and we are, also gonna see about how to create some calculator properties. So let us save this as today's class. Let's say constants. And very quickly we will see what all the things we've been seeing about let's start with constants. Before that, what is constant, right? uh, in the previous session we were able to see what is a variable, right? So variable is by definition it will be keep on changing. It's something varies and it will hold a lot of values and it will be keep on changing. And since we have variable, there is quite opposite something called, something we can also have a particular variable which will not change, which will not vary, and it will actually have only one, particular constant as a value, so that it will not change. So what will be the scenario? Let's say for an example, uh, let me open the PowerShell. Okay, these are the things we know. Like if I type 1 tera TB, it will be giving some this terabyte or whatever the bits, right? It's giving. This is something universal. It is not going to change, and this is again an automatic variable or it is a built-in variable. Similarly, some things will be universal and maybe in our, let's say you are writing a script for your company or your particular project. Some things will never be changing. For an example, let's say you want your company name, okay, your company name, or let's say some yeah, that would be the one example, or computer name, those kind of things. Whatever you want to make it as a constant, that is going to be constant. And moreover, you also very careful that by not even by mistake you assign some other value to that particular variable, so it will be changing, which actually will affect everything. Let's say for an example, my computer name is, let's say, host name. Okay, this is my computer name, and I know my computer name will not change all, in all my scripts and everything, and I want this to be in a particular, instead of I keep on calling host name, let's say I wanted to put it in a variable called my computer name. Okay, and let's say that is actually Big Bang is my computer name, and then I'm working on it. Sorry, I made a mistake. And okay, now, okay, that is also a excellent example actually. Now, just give me a minute. I have already tried this, okay, and I think I already made this as a constant. So let me exit this so that we can start all over. Since all the variables and then constants, everything will be expired because everything will be in the RAM when I close the console. Here, in my previous example, I tried my computer name as let's say here. Okay, I'm just typing my computer name. Okay, this is what I already defined. Okay, before this class. Okay, for some other reason, and since I'm trying to assign some other value, it clearly says it's a read only or a constant, and it cannot be overwritten. So for to justify, demonstrate, I'm just exiting this. Then let me open another console and as administrator and enter. Now, again, this is my host name, and then I want to put it in my computer name. Okay, before I define, I check is there anything. There is nothing because, as I said, when we exit the console, everything will be changed. Now, I'm gonna set the variable, okay, this particular variable as a read the constant. Okay, so constant is something the value will never change. I'm gonna make this constant. How is that? You remember set hyphen variable will be the command to change the variables, let's say value. Now I'm assigning here my computer name and then value. I'm going to get mostly. Okay. Let's expand. Okay. And then option, okay, as constant. And if you see, I'm not typing constant full. I just type con and then I press the tab and hit enter. I might get error. In read only, we will be getting error. Here, what I'm doing is I'm setting this variable, my computer name. As I said, whenever we use set variable, get variable, whenever we are dealing with actual variable related commands, we should not use a dollar symbol. You remember I made that mistake when we are trying for the first time. So this is the only place where we will not be using the dollar with the variable name, because this command is meant to mention the variable. And value, I'm assigning this, and then in the option I'm saying this is a constant, means I wanted to make this particular my computer as a constant. Now let me try to display what is the value. Okay, now I could see. Now let me also get hyphen variable. Okay, my computer name and hit enter. That's the value. I want to see more details. Now if you see the word more details, I'm going to see more details that is actually related to format list. So whenever we want more list, we will use FL. I'm using FL. Now I could see the option which is constant. When I just use a get hyphen variable, it's giving the default things. When I want to see more variable, more details, I'm using pipe FL. Now I could see option is constant. Okay, excellent. Now how I'm gonna check whether it is the constant or not. Let me try to assign another variable, another value to this. My computer name is, let's say, IBP, and hit enter. This is where we will be actually PowerShell will be protecting this particular constant, because we made it as a constant, and it will be like a constant. Okay, and constant and read only almost the same thing. Okay, because read only means it is only a read only and we cannot change the value, right? So that's almost the same thing. Now let us see what is the difference between the read only and constant. Okay, before that, so we understand that, let me copy that and put it in set variable, get variable, these things. And then when we try something else, it will be actually giving an error. So this is what the constant. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try another thing. I'm gonna do a read only. We are gonna check what is the difference between constant and read only and the variable. Now first thing is new hyphen variable. Okay, I'll say why I'm using new variable instead of I say directly start with set hyphen variable. Now new variable, the name is let's say any name. Okay, just for our understanding purpose, I'm saying read only RAM size. Okay, and I'm going to make it the value as 1024, and then I'm going to make the option. This is where the exact changes. I'm going to make this particular variable as read only and hit enter. Now I'm going to call it, okay, RO RAM size, and that is 1, and then I'm piping it to FL, sorry, get hyphen variable, and piping it to FL to see more details. Okay, and you see I'm not even, okay, so here we see, okay, the options is read only. Previously it was like only a constant, right? So for variable, it will not neither constant, neither read only. Okay. So this is where exactly it will be changing. So this is read only. So again, how do we check this? Instead of I copy and then paste all the commands here, what I'm going to do is let me do one thing. Okay, okay, I'm going to create a transcript. Let's do this from today so that it will be easy. I'll just update the transcript. You can take it entire thing from there. Okay, and let's say so now there is a constant.txt. Everything will be stored in that. Okay, so I don't have to copy and paste everything. Now let's quickly redo those things instead of RAM size. Let me do hard disk size. Okay, hard disk is 10204000, and then I'm making that as a read only. Now I'm calling hard disk size. Okay, I'm getting it, and then get hyphen variable h hard disk, and then 5 bytes, and then I make sure it is read only. How do I check this? And I'm trying to assign some other value, let's say 1020 or 6000 something. And it's again, it says it's a read only and it cannot be overwritten. And if as of now, if you see, they both are almost the same thing, okay? But PowerShell gives you, constant as well as read only two options are there. And once we start working on a lot of steps, we will be seeing what all the appropriate place where we can see use read only and where we can use a constant. In most of the things, we will be using read only instead of constant. Read only on constant. I mean, read only is will actually make the variable not writable. Okay, so that it can be also only one time can be defined. What does that means? Now I say set hyphen variable, right? I mean, new hyphen variable. Okay. Now let me try something else to assign read only. Okay, set hyphen variable, okay, hyphen name. Let's say instead of hard disk size, I say RAM slots. Okay, this is what the new variable I'm assigning, and my value what I'm going to give is 8 slots. Let's say I say 8 slots, and then option is read only, and I'm going to hit enter. Now it works, right? Now let's say anything else, monitors. Value is I had two monitors and I'm setting this as constant. Now time slots, monitors. So like I mean, what all the variables are where I mean, what all the things I know I'm gonna make it as read only or constant. I'll be either use new hyphen variable or set hyphen variable. Okay. The right way is or the correct way to do is to create the new hyphen variable and assign it and then make it as read only instead of doing this. Sometimes we will be getting an error saying we can do I mean we can only assign the read only or constant at the time of creating a variable. Now that's all about read only and constant, and let's move on to the next thing. So let's see this data types. What is a data type? Okay, so data type is let's say, how do we define a data type? What is data? Data can be anything. Let's say let's take it as we say, in everything in PowerShell is an object, right? So any object will be having two things. One is let's say property, another one is method or functions. right? So these are all the things we call it as a data, right? For an example, let's say in so let's say this RAM slots is an object I created, even though we say as a variable. Okay, this is an object created in PowerShell, and then we are giving this value, all this value, right? That is what the property and method and what all the things we can do with that. That is the method and functions. Let's say get hyphen process. We have seen explode everything, right? Using get hyphen member. So all these property and then method function, everything is called data. Okay, mostly this will be the data. Property will be the data, and there will be like alias property and all those things. So that is actually data. So what is data type is what kind of object is this? Okay, data type is what type of object is this? Is data type. So why it is important or how to find it? Let's find it now. Now get hyphen with variable RAM slots and then pipe it to get hyphen member and hit enter. Now I could see this is a variable. This is the type name and this is what we call it as a data type. Okay. This type name, whatever we are seeing, right? This is what the object type, and then that is where we will be seeing what kind of data type it is. Here it clearly says it's a PS variable. Okay. Now let us do one thing. Let's try a few other things. Get hyphen service and pipe it to get hyphen member. Okay. And then hit enter. Now we could see this get hyphen service is this particular, I mean anything, any service is actually a part of service controller, that is the type of this particular object or data. Okay, so this is in a whole perspective of object. Okay, both object as well as the variables, everything will be comes under the types. And other than that, we have a separate. I mean, we can also segregate these variables into more data types. Let's say the variables data types can be string, integer, and then let's say hash table, array, those kind of things. I mean, what all the things we are getting actually getting stored in that particular variable is called data types. Okay, it is also a type of the object. So let's try few things. Let's say name is equal to, let's say, some example name. And now name, and then I pipe it to get hyphen member and hit enter. Now we could see that type is system string, right? So this is what we say data type is string. Now let us say instead of name, let's say roll number. Okay, roll number is equals to 100. Now roll number, we pipe it to get hyphen number, and then it will be clearly saying integer. Integer is nothing but without any dot 00. Let's say no, there won't be any decimal numbers after dot. Let's say 10.00 or those kind of after dot you will not be having anything. So that kind of that is the full numbers are called integer, and there will be a range as well. So integer will be, for an example will be I will show you partial integer range. So you see here number, let's say integer 16 or something, right? So this is what the integer range means. Means any number between minus 32,76768 and 32,767. Okay, that is what integer means. What does that means? I mean, if it is something more than that, okay, little bit longer than that, Okay, so it can be, let's say, while comparing to 32,767, this is a very long number, right? So this is a short and this is the integer. Okay, similarly, we will be having other things as well. Let's say, for an example, here, mostly we will be seeing this decimal, okay, and then long, integer, all these things we will be using. So as of now, just only one thing you have to remember: integer means, okay, just if since we don't have to worry about programming language, all these numbers, I don't have to remember anything. Just remember, integer is nothing but a full number without decimals. And this long, right? Long is number with decimals. When I say decimals, let's say uh, x dot 00, those kind of things. Here it will be just full number, just x, those kind of. So that's the only thing as of now you have to know, and you don't have to worry float, double, all those things. PowerShell will be taking care of everything. Reason why I say is here we say roll number, and then as you know, I can change this roll number to, now the roll number is 100. Let's say I'm gonna change this roll number to 100.1. Okay, 100.1 is not an integer. Okay, now still it will be assigning it to roll number, and it PowerShell will take care of the adaptation, all those things. So you don't have to worry whether now it is double, right? Previously it was integer 32. Okay, since I assigned this double, okay, long double, since I just put dot one, it it recognize as a double or long, and then it make it as double. I think it's don't have to, it's not long, it's just double. That's the only difference. And then again, let us try, instead of a roll number, okay, I also can change it to something else. Okay, let's say student name, and I hit enter. The it is from double, it is actually gonna be changing to string. Okay, let's say get hyphen member, hit enter. Now it's string. So the reason why I say you don't have to worry about integer, double, all those things is because it will be adapting to anything whatever you assign. The only thing is make sure the scope whatever you are using. Okay, let's say you are defining the roll number here and then trying to use the same roll number in your script, and you are running it from here. The script will be having access to all the variables declared in the console. So that is the variable scope. Those are all the things you have to remember. And whatever you declare in the script, which is called a script variable, will not be accessible back again in the PowerShell console by default. Those are all the things you have to remember, and that are all the concepts that will be actually making uh, make some undesired output, and you might be getting confused what is actually going on, right? So when we know these concepts clearly, the scope, what is scope and how it is actually working, and that are all the things important, and you don't have to remember the range of integer, range of double, all those things. When you don't even have to remember double or long, all those things. So that is the one. And then now I also said uh, hash table, array, all those things. We'll be seeing all those things later, arrays and everything. But as of now, let's start with the hash table. So what is hash table? Let's imagine you have, let's say, you open a phone book. Okay. When I say phone book, let's say the old type of phone book. Okay. Where you will be just having a name. Okay, and let's say it's a one-to-one kind of thing. One name, okay, and then followed by whatever the name will have its own phone number. Okay, this is what the format will be. Or in schools, let's say in schools or colleges, okay, what the let's say student name will be actually attached to the student roll number, right? So similarly, employee, and it will be employee ID. So these are things actually one to one sort of thing, right? If you see, all these are one to one. Let's say if I give the phone number, you can get back. I mean, this might not be the case nowadays. People have multiple phone numbers, but I'm saying in the phone book times, if we give the phone number, we will be able to find the name, and then if we give the name, we should be able to find the phone number. Okay, now you could also, you know, always when we say hash table, okay, just always remember it is kind of lock and key. Okay, let's say unique lock and unique key. Okay, so it will have one lock and then a unique key. Okay, similarly means one phone number, one name will be having one phone number. One particular student in the complete school will be having one roll number, and then if we use a roll number, we should able to get the student name as well, and employee ID, vice versa. So why I say lock and key, because let's say this is a lock and this will be the key. One to one. This is where this is in our real time we will be using the format, right? So whenever we are using this, we can use the same kind of thing and to create the same kind of data in PowerShell and then use it for our usage. Let's say I'm going to declare something called employee and employee ID. Uh, here. So this is how we will be actually declaring hash. Okay, hash is nothing. I'll be showing how we will be declaring the hash. Okay, hash again is just, it is not a keyword or anything. How we are saying the variable name. Variable name can be, it should start with a dollar, and it should not be having space between the name and the dollar. Similarly, the all the rules applies to the variable name. That's the same thing applies to the hash. There is nothing called just hash. Okay, hash is not a keyword. Okay, means it is not a predefined variable like 1 terabyte or dollar true, dollar false kind of thing. So it's just a concept. So it can be anything, and usually it will be defined in this format. Let's say it's a this is the employee directory is the one, and then it will be starting with the add symbol, okay, followed by and this one. Okay, this is the format. We just copy and paste here for format. Here, this hash again, as I said, it can be anything, hash one or any name, and then followed by dollar, and starts with curly braces, ends with curly braces. Okay. So first thing, put an add symbol, and then followed by uh, curly braces and end the curly braces, and whatever we are putting inside, right, that is where actually that things will be happening. Now you see, everything will be a kind of couple. There is a number and some number, and there's a shape and square. I mean, this is all random, okay, but as of now in our example, only thing is we everything will be separated by a semicolon, so that is all we need. So let's say, mm, okay, student 1, okay, is equal to 100, let's say 601, okay, and then student 2 is equal to 602, and then again semicolon, student 3 since student all is string, I'm putting it in a double quotes. Since 601 602 all are number, and just not putting in double quotes, I'm putting it in a 603. Now, for the last one, you don't have to put a semicolon. Semicolon is just to separate two set of hash. Okay, let's say this is a hash. Okay, or as of now, just say this is a set of value. To separate two set of values, we'll be using hash. There's nothing to separate here, so there is no need of using, semicolon here. And then let's hit enter. Now I just call employee directory and hit enter. You see how declaring ID like a column here. That's the exact format is actually coming. It's a name and this is the value, right? So the student number one is, if you see again, there is, it's, even though I start with 0 1 0 2 all those things, it is not ordered in that manner. It will be randomly taking. Okay, now how will be I using this? I will show. Okay, so that let's define one more thing. Okay, instead of employee ID, let's say phone book. Okay, and then let's define phone book name one is equals to let's say in the old days, right? 1 2 3. Okay, and then some number two is 2 3 4. Number three is equal to 3 4 5, and I end this. Okay, and hit enter, and then I call the phone book. Now, the reason why I declare one more time and I want to show is, even though I didn't mention anywhere here, okay, in anywhere I didn't mention either name or value. Here also I didn't mention name or value. And but when I display anything, it will be displayed like name versus value. That's the reason I actually said we need to usually remember this like a log and key. Log is nothing but the name of that particular one, and key is nothing but the value. This is a predefined one. So anything will be, anything, whatever we are declaring, there will be only two variable. Okay. Two things. One is name, another one is value. Okay. Even though you declare it or not, it will be like name and then followed by value. Okay, so that's what I mean to say. It will be just like lock and key, 1:1. That is what I say, 1:1 relationship. Okay. Now, how do we actually put it for use? Let's say before we do that, let's just type phone book and type name. Let's say N1. Okay, I want to call N1 and hit enter. I'll be seeing what is the value of N1, which is 1 2 3. Okay, this will be calling. Means in this hash table, I'm calling this particular name, and then value will be displayed. Similarly, N2, N3. I'm sorry. So this is the whole purpose of the hash table. Okay, and you will be, let's say, let's take a general common example. Okay, let's say I'm gonna do some kind of script which is related to my servers. Okay, let's say my servers are Azure servers. Okay, or yeah, Azure servers, and I have only three servers, and so I don't have to put it in. Reason is here. I can put all these servers in a CSV file, and then I can take it and then use it as a CSV. uh, that will also work. Okay, but the reason why I'm putting here Azure server and then I'm declaring it, let's say I'm declaring it as a hash table. Okay, server 1, and its IP address is 192.168.1.1. Okay, let's say, and then I copy and paste, to server 2, and then I copy and paste. Is it mandatory I should only declare a 3? If you see I say only declare three variables, is it mandatory? No, it is just one is enough. Even you can also leave it empty. Okay, you can start with the empty hash table. I'll just show you how. Now I make it as 3 and hit enter. Now, as I said, I could also open a CSV file, an Excel file, and then put all these servers, and then I call from a file and then do all these things. Reason why I'll be using hash table here is, first thing is I only have only 3 servers, so I don't have to put it in I don't have more than 100 or 10 or at least 10 servers. Okay, so since it is handful of number, I'm putting it in a hash table. Means it's very similar to file, but the thing is file is something external. Okay, and here it will be kind of variable, and then since it is very handful, I'm going to put it in a hash table and going to use it. Okay, how I'm going to use it? Let's say I'm going to use it. These are all my servers. I'm going to work. I'm declaring almost like a read only or a constant values. Means whenever I call server, it is this value will be coming. Whenever I call server 2, this will be coming. Whenever I call server 3, like how we are defining constants. Similarly, this will be there, and the only difference is we can also change these values. Okay, values of a hash table. But first, let's say I define this assume server, and then I'm gonna do some kind of operation related to server 1, and then I'm getting, let's say, get hyphen azure ad users, or those kind of things. Okay, now if I do this, what will happen? It will actually take, whenever I use this, actually it will be calling this. Okay, excellent. So since this is a dot, and this is an IP address, okay, and I'm putting more than one. When I put one dot, it actually assumes it's a long, which is here. Let's say we say double, right? When it will have a decimal. When I put more than one, it actually thinks I'm making a mistake, and it is not assigning any value. So how do I fix it? Since it's an IP address and it has there is no defined format, I'm also putting that in double quotes. Okay. And in PowerShell, the more errors you get, the more we learn. How we learn cycle, and the more we fall down and more traffic we get in, the more we will get comfortable, right? Similarly, the more errors is equals to more learning. Okay, if you are doing everything, whatever I'm trying, and then you are getting everything perfect without seeing any of this red color, means you are perfectly trying everything in the same manner. You are not making mistake. When we are not making mistake, you are actually not learning, right? So try more possibilities, and if you are getting error, it is something actually showing you are in a learning curve. So even I'm it gave me an opportunity to explore you another concept, why actually we have to put it in a double quotes. Now let's call it an azure dot server 1, and now it is giving the value, right? So again, if you see the approach, I declare something and then I'm calling it, and I'm not getting. Okay, I think I might be, first thing I'm checking is whether I'm doing it correctly, I'm calling the server name correctly. Okay, so I'm just saying how I'm approaching this problem. I type server, okay, and then I tab, and it's automatically resolving. Means I'm not making any mistake by typing, so it is not a typo. Now I'm talking here. Okay, why I'm not getting the value? First thing is I'm typing it correctly, but still it is not getting. In spite of I get only one value, what I'm gonna do is okay, is the complete hash table is correct? I'm calling the complete hash table. That is where I understand there is no values assigned. Now I'm going back and checking why it is no value is assigned. Now I understand. Okay, I'm putting the more than one dot, means there is, it actually has to be in a double quotes. Then I'm actually fixing the problem. So that is how we also approach it's all about again, you are not learning about hash table, you are not even learning about anything how we are using all those things. It's about how actually I'm approaching it, so that you will be knowing how exactly to troubleshoot, and then even though you get into any problem, you will be knowing how to actually approach and get it to the root problem and then to solve it. So now this is where I'll be calling. So okay, so one, three, all those things. We know that. Now let's call just Azure server. And first thing, we know how to declare. Now we also know while declaring we can use numbers, and if we are using IP address or any other strings, we need to put it in double quotes. To call it, all we need to do is very similar to objects dot, we will be calling that particular value. I mean, the whatever that name, let's say server one or anything. Okay, and that is how we will be calling. Now I want to see all the values. Okay, now instead of that, I'll type names. Okay, before I do that, I'll just do the get hyphen member, our usual way of exploring it. Okay, I'm exploring what are all the things I can do with this hash table. Now, these are all the properties I'm gonna look at. Here, there are a lot of methods. Okay, we'll be seeing one by one. I mean, only important things. Here, I'll be getting these things. Okay, one is keys and values. This is the official actual name for, I say, right, this, let's say, keys, and this is the values, right? So when I say name or keys, it is the actual the name, okay, and then whatever the value it has, right, that is the values. So official name for the this one, okay, whatever the student name, all these things are, is, even though you remember, even though it displays as name, okay, within the property, within actual object, it will be actually using as a keys, okay. Now I'm gonna call the property keys, Azure dot keys, and hit enter. Now I could see what all the keys are there. Keys is nothing but, as I said, uh, the names. Okay, names and keys are equal. Now I also could see the values. Okay, values, which will be giving all the values. So this is the option to see all the keys, all the values, and to get only one key, you will be typing only one key exact name, and then you will be getting it. And let's say I want to count how many are there. You can count it, number. So these are all the usual things we will be doing. And here, let's say what the methods we'll be usually using is, we can add, okay, one more, let's say one more pair of value. How do we add? Add, and then let's say, so 4 comma 192.168.1.4. Now I hit enter, and then I'm going to call it Azure server. Now you could see the fourth one is added here. Okay. Now you, the main thing here. Okay, first main thing in the sense, let me type the history. Okay, and then here this is what the main thing when we are declaring it, okay, for the first time. How we will be declaring? We will be putting it the double quotes, and here also we are putting double quotes, but instead of equals, okay, we are actually passing it as a comma. Okay, so that's the difference. If you put, let's say here, if I put equals, it's going to give us an error. Okay, so that is, and also I'll not be using semicolon, all those things. Okay, so again, just to know, okay, that is how we will be adding it, just using comma. Okay, that's a difference while we are adding it. So what all the other things we have? Azure server. This is something we will be actually adding it. Okay, let's say get hyphen member, hit enter. Okay, here this is something like a contains key. Okay, I'm just gonna copy is contains key is nothing but whether it has a key called. Okay, let's say this is the first one, and then I'm gonna type contains key. Okay, key is nothing but this name. Okay, server 2, and I hit enter. It's basically what it will do is it will go and check whether this particular server 2 is there in this hash table or not. That is all it will do. Now let's say I put server 5 and hit enter, it will be giving false. Means in this particular set of hash table, okay, let's consider this as a table. I mean, this is actually called technically hash table. Okay, so in this table, do we have this value or not? Similarly, contains instead of key, let's say 192.168.1.4, right? And hit enter. Okay, contains key. Okay, I'll show you the this one hash table dot contains. They both are, I mean, here these two are almost the same thing actually. Contains key, okay, contains the both are same. It is actually not checking the value. Okay, what I'm trying is I'm just copying here. Okay, copy this and then paste the value. Okay, and then if I hit enter, it is actually saying there is no value because it is only checking these names. It will not be checking the values. And there is no reverse kind of thing. Means I cannot call the value and try to know what is the name. Okay, just like if only if I have the key, I can open the let's say the lock, right? Just if I have the lock, I cannot find let's say 100 keys are there. I mean, it will be more complicated, right? Similarly, from server, from the name or the key, you can find the value. From the value, you cannot find this one back again. Okay, that's a kind of a limitation. Let's say I'll be showing you that. Get hyphen member. So you have dot, let's say server 1, right? Server 2 or anything we are calling this. Now in spite of that, if I call, okay, dot let's say or what are all the other things we phone book, right? Let's try that. Okay, phone book. Okay, dot 345. My intention is I'm trying how I'm typing n1, I'm getting the value, right? I'm trying to get, if I type uh, 2, 3, 4, am I getting back whatever the reverse thing into? No, that will not work in this way. So you need it. You can only get from the name the value, not from the value to the name. And we see add, and there is also an option to clear. Okay, so what the clear will do? Let's say phone book dot clear. Hit enter, and then now let's call the phone book. It just cleared everything, means everything is deleted. If you want to clear all the values, okay, for some reason, this is how we will be deleting. So quickly summary with one another example. Okay, let's say what are all the other options we have seen? Employees, right? Okay, let's say dollar employee or company directory, and then start with at symbol and then end with curly braces. I mean, start with curly braces and then end with the curly braces. Everything will be separated with semicolon. Keep that in mind. And then start with double quotes. One is employee one is equals. This is not comma. Okay, is equals one, or let's say 700, and then second employee two, so 300, or employee employee three. Since we are keep on declaring three, I'll just leave it only for two things. Here, by which I'm putting comma. Okay, if I put comma, you'll be getting an error. Okay, so that is the reason. I mean, that's the important thing. That then only it will actually work, and then only they'll be considering this as a pair of key and then value. How do I call this? How I declare this is, and how do I call the complete thing? This is what we call the complete hash table. How do we call only the names, that is keys, and how do I call only the display all the values, and how do I call only a particular uh, key or a name, let's say M1 or M2. Okay, and this one. Now another thing is, let's say, you see, even though we order put it in 0 1 0 2 1 2 3, it is not ordered, right? So the simple way to order is just here type order. Here, before we start, here we are typing ordered. I'm making an error. Ordered. Okay. That's again how I found the error. The error is mentioned by this one, and I know the comma we should not be putting. Now I type the company directory. Now it will be in the 700 and 300. Let's try some other one. History. Let's say this one, right? Without ordering, just hitting enter. Now I'll call Azure server. You can see 231. Even though I put it in 1 2 3. The only way to easier way to fix it is ordered. Hit enter. Now Azure server, it will be ordered by the value one to whatever the order I'm giving, it will be that. So that's about the hash tables. Okay, and there will be other things like what are other things? Like let's say remove item, all those things. Okay, that is all something you will not be using. Mainly you'll be only using most of the time for this one. Okay, let's say this is the the most common usage. You will be actually calling a particular key and then getting the value. This is the core thing. What all the other things we have seen, just to know hash table is something most of the people would get confused. What is actually hash table? Is there a restriction? Yes, it is. Again, the reason why I give you all these examples, if you see all of them are one to one, and then I want you to remember the lock and key. Unique lock and unique key means there will be one name and then one value. So that's the hash table. And how we declare it, we also said that. Okay, so hash table is just meant for a short table where you can actually use it for some kind of simple calculation. If you have more values, more servers, or all those things, then the ideal way is to go with a file and then put everything in a CSV file and then call from the file and then manipulate it. So that's all about a hash table. And then let's continue with the other things. So far, we have seen constants, read only, and data types like integer, all those things. And then we also seen what is hash table and why it is actually equals to lock and key, and how to declare it, how to call it, and what is the restriction, in what scenario we will be using hash table, in what scenario we will be actually using the actual files, all those things. And here is an important thing, next thing we are going to see, which is PowerShell snap-ins and modules. Okay, so what is snap-in and module? Before we see PowerShell snap-in and module, let's open the MMC. Everyone knows MMC, right? Again, it's just Microsoft Management Console. Let's say before four of, let's say some 10 years back, okay, 10 or 7 years back, if you open any server active directory still, okay, any server or anything, in the server or the services or in your local machine or a client or anywhere, MMC is the actual console where it will be acting as an interface between you as well as the server or the client. So what I mean by interface, this is where you'll be actually seeing everything. The Active Directory users and computers, if you remember, it will be actually having the same kind of thing. Like left side, you'll be seeing all the OUs, and then right side you will be seeing that let's say all the Active Directory users and computers, and on the right panel you will be having another action. Sometimes you can enable it also, it will be doing some action. This is called action panel. So this MMC is a Microsoft Management Console. It is a kind of let's say a playground where you will be able to take anything. It can be a schema, it can be your Active Directory users and computer services. Let's take an example now. Let's say add, remove, snap-in. You see the name again, snap-in is something already there. It is not related to only PowerShell. Okay, now I'm opening, let's say, services, and I'm adding it. And I can add either local computer or remote computer. I'm just adding the local computer, and then I'm also adding let's say mm, device manager. I'm adding both of them and then click on OK. Now what is happening? This is kind of empty screen, empty box console. Okay, Microsoft Management Console. Once I import this snap-ins, okay, snap-in is nothing but whatever related to this services. That services snap-in contains all the information about the services, and this MMC is just a window through which we are actually seeing all this information. Okay, so let's say if I just type services.msc, I open it, it is actually, even though it says services at the top and here it says console, they both are MMC. It's actually built on MMC and made it as services so that it will be opening into services. So the point is, MMC, how it works, thus very similarly, PowerShell also has its own snap. I mean, lot of snap-ins can be imported. How the MMC is not related to the services or the device manager, and it is a kind of playground or interface to see everything and operate everything. For an example, if I click here in this snap-in, I can see and do anything with the power, the services, right? Let's say I can stop it, start everything. and I can see, I can start, stop, do anything related to services when I open the services snap-in. And when I do the same thing, device manager, it is altogether different thing, but still the same snap-in. The snap-in here I can do, let's say I can refresh and then I can add, I can scan for things and everything. So whatever the option available in the MMC is not related to the MMC, it is related to what snap-in I'm importing, right? So I'll just summary what all the things I said. Okay, snap-in is a kind of, let's say it's where all the commands in PowerShell, we call it as commandlets, right, are wrapped into a single snap in, or let's say as of now you can just consider it as like a box where all these commands are related to one single thing. Let's say services is a snap in, right? Here in this example, this is nothing to do with PowerShell. I'm just showing what is snap in means in a general life, okay, general administrative life. So snap-in, and then what PowerShell is doing, if I open a particular snap-in, how this MMC will be actually enabling me to use all these commands in these services. Similarly, if I do or import this snap-in into PowerShell, all these commands will be available through PowerShell, right? So I can do anything available in this particular snap-in command, and then I can do anything. That is the whole concept of snap-in. Basically, in PowerShell, snap-in is set of commands or commandlets, okay, wrapped into a single instead of package or box. I mean let's call it as package, okay, and then that package will be available, okay. And this snap-in, who will be actually writing it, I mean who's actually creating the snap-ins? Let's say this services.msc is something coming by default with the Windows side. Let's say I installed Active Directory Windows 2012 on this machine, okay. Now if I open MMC and if I go to the snap-in, okay, here add snap-in, I'll be seeing Active Directory users and computers and then sites and services, all those things, right? So the point is, whatever we installed, okay, whatever installed and available in the local or remote computer, those things only available to import. Import in the sense how we open added a snap-in, similarly import the snap-in, import or add, all those things are the same, okay. So that's the point, okay. So let's say if I'm able to see Active Directory users and computers in my snap-in, okay, here, and if you are not able to see, it's not nothing to do with this MMC, right? It is just to do with your computer, right? So yesterday Roy was asking a question, I'm not able to run a particular command, right? So the answer I was giving is almost same, very similar to this. PowerShell is kind of an interface, and whatever is installed and available in your computer, it will only facilitate you to use it. It is not, other than the default PowerShell commands, all other commands are kind of snap-ins only, kind of packages available through some other applications. Okay, it can be Active Directory, it can be Azure, it can be Task Manager, everything. Okay, so the reason why I open the MMC and show the snap-in is that is how exactly we will be using the snap-ins in the PowerShell as well. Okay, and let us try that. And again, we will not be I'll not be saying these are all the commands. We are going to do the same exploring things. Get hyphen help and snap in is what the keyword I know, and then hit enter. Now I could see three commands. One is add and get and remove. From the command itself you could see one is to display all the snap-ins, one is to add the snap-in. Okay, what does the add means? Okay, I just opened the MMC and then I added a snap-in, right? Means I opened the services, I imported that. Before that, I'll just quickly do it again. This is Microsoft Management Console and it is empty. Okay, consider this PowerShell very similar to this. Okay, currently it doesn't have anything related to services, right? Similarly, when we open the PowerShell by default, it doesn't have anything related to let's say we are going to import a snap-in. It will not have those commands. Means I'm not able to see the services, I won't be able to right click or anything, right? So similarly, I'll not be able to access those commands. The only difference here is I'll be seeing everything, doing everything manually, but here everything will be typing and then it is only, not a graphical user interface, it's a command line interface. Now, when I click on add snap-in and then I open services and now now I could see, right, that is what the get command is. Okay, it is nothing related to, I mean, it is not related to services. Okay, I'm just giving an idea how actually it is gonna be. Okay, now once I open, now I'm able to see, right, that's what get snap-in is. Okay, it will see and list all the things whatever I can, whatever imported in these services, and then when I imported all these commands, let's say the refresh, properties, task, everything is available for me, right? So once I add any snap-in, whatever the commandlets inside that particular snap-in will be available for me. Once I'm done with that, I'll be just go ahead and remove it from this particular thing. Okay, let's say we go to remove snap-in, click on it, and then I remove, right? Now it's gone. That's the same thing this snap-in will be doing. Okay, hope that example analogy made it clear what is the snap-in. Now get into actual PowerShell snap-in. Okay, now we already tried it. Now let's see, start with get hyphen ps snap-in. I have only one PowerShell core snap-in. Okay, means that's the only snap-in I have. And to check, is there anything else available? Sometimes for security reason or in different places it will be stored all those things. There is uh, or let's say some snap-ins, okay, will be registered, means it will be available. And let's say, in other words, registered is something like as of now you can just consider whether it is available for you to use or not in this console. Okay, just hit enter. There is nothing specially registered. Okay, let's see any other things. Before I do one by one, I'll just use the get hyphen member so that I can see what all the things I can do. In the properties, I could see name. Okay, in the methods, I could see. Okay, all right. Okay, now let me get help, get hyphen help, and then PS mapping. I hit enter. Detailed. Okay, so this is where we are seeing. So hyphen registered is basically indicates, you can read it by but basically it says whether it is available for you in that particular session or not. Okay, that is what it means. Okay, so get PS snap-in and we just tried the registered, it will display all of them. If you want to display a particular snap-in, currently in my computer I don't have much snap-in, only one snap-in. But if I want to display a particular snap-in, let's say here it is core, right? I hit enter, anything with that particular core or anything, it will be displayed. It's very similar to the star any command we are calling, right? The same concept here. Okay, so that is the snap-in. And as I said, unless until I install something specially and then whether it is available, the snap-ins will not be available. Means unless until a software is installed in your machine, you will not be able to use it, right? Similarly, unless until you import or install a particular software or a snap-in, it will not be available. So that is how. And let's imagine, okay, we have a snap-in. How do we add it? Just add hyphen ps snap-in and whatever the name of it. Okay, let's say this one and hit enter. Don't worry about this because it's already registered and it is already imported. So this is how we'll be adding, and once it is added, whatever the commands available. Okay, now this is something interesting. Get hyphen ps snap-in name. Let's try this. Okay. Okay. This is an important command. Okay. Get hyphen command, okay, will get all the commands in a particular module. Okay, now we are going to discuss about module. Okay, as of now I'll just copy and keep it for you so that I can show you what exactly this, why this command is very important for you. Okay, before that we will see what is module. Okay, so snap-in is kind of, let's say, when Microsoft started initially, okay, they wanted to wrap everything into the package, right? At that time, they were using all these things using DLL files. If you remember, I mean, in previous operating system or anything, most of the things will be actually based on DLL files, and let's say if you're getting any error or anything in your operating system or in a booting problem or anything in a general machine, I'm saying, or in a general server, you'll be mostly getting related to this DLL is corrupted or this particular DLL is missing, those kind of things. Meaning Microsoft was putting everything based on DLL. The complete things will be based on DLL only. So similarly, when PowerShell was introduced, all the commandlets were actually put into a DLL files, and that is how we will be actually able to write a snap-in. Okay, so snap-in will be actually in a format of DLL, and uh, to import, whenever we are importing DLL, it just means that DLL is imported to the PowerShell. That is what happened. Now, since DLL has changed and PowerShell was, actually more depend on not on, I mean, getting out of all this old DLL type and then moving to uh, .NET framework and completely based on .NET framework in spite of DLL, right? So module actually they started using .NET objects itself, .NET framework objects or modules like a functions, like a file sort of thing. Okay, so I'll be showing those kind of files now. Okay, before that, basically that's the thing. It was based on DLL and then they made it to .NET related files actually. Okay, because we, and again they both does the same thing. It's again the set of commands box, packaged. The only thing is module is a kind of modern way to package, and this is what Microsoft actually doing all those things, kind of migrated everything. But still there are a lot of servers, let's say SharePoint, those kind of servers still using snap-ins. Okay, still they are currently running in snap-ins. They are not yet migrated or not yet, they Microsoft did not worries about all those things, but Microsoft encourage everyone to write or package everything in a module. Okay, uh, what what does this means to you is, since this is something, module is something you can write it based on .NET framework and PowerShell is also based on .NET, you can write your own modules. Okay, and then you can share with others, and then you can import or export, all those things you can do. Basically this is let's say you are writing lots of functions. Okay, functions is nothing but a piece of code which will do some particular function. That is what function means. Okay, so if you are writing lot of useful functions, and if you put them all into a module, okay, you can write your own module, and then you can share them to with others in this same format. Okay, if there is a particular protocol or rules and regulation how to write a module, we will be seeing that in advanced PowerShell module session. As of now, you just know you can write your own module, and everyone, Microsoft suggests everything, all the new vendors, everyone's to write their own modules. Now, since I say the vendors, right? Who will be actually writing all these snap-ins, all these commandlets? Let's say VMware, let's say Azure, all those things, right? Azure, AWS, all those things. We say they're all supporting PowerShell. What does that mean? For an example, let's say we take AWS. AWS is a product of Amazon, right? Amazon, and it's nothing to do with PowerShell. But what they do is, whatever the AWS data center man, management, okay, they turn everything into PowerShell modules, okay, and then they will be putting into AWS module. Means whatever you wanted to do with the AWS data center management, creating a AWS machine, or deleting direct anything, doing anything with the machine or network or anything with the cloud computing, they'll be creating all the commands very similar. I mean, in the .NET framework format, means it will be adhering very similar. All the commands will be adhering whatever the rules we have seen. Let's say it will be we will be seeing get hyphen, set hyphen, all those things, right? All the commands will be adhering those kind of rules and regulations. So there won't be any different protocol or set of rules and regulations. So this Amazon will write all these commands, put together everything in a PowerShell commands and give it to you. All you need as an Amazon or AWS engineer is just either, if they give it as a module, just add hyphen uh, snap in, and then this is the command actually. Add hyphen snap-in, and whatever the snap-in name, let's say AWS snap-in. I'm giving, this is not the exact name, I'm just giving the name. Okay, and this is, once you added all these commands, whatever they put, right, all these PowerShell commands will be available for you. So if you now, if you type, let's say, new AWS computer, that command will be available for you, very similar to how once we import the services are available. Similarly, once we add a snap-in or a module, it can be a module actually, it can be a snap-in, anything based on what they have written. Okay, snap-in is just based on DLL. This is the upgraded new, I mean, let's say latest method to wrap everything. That is the modules. Okay, so they give wrap everything into modules or a snap-in, and you will be using add snap-in to add it, and then you will be using those commands. Similarly, there is get hyphen let's get hyphen help module. Okay, here, you see, I said you can write your own module, right? This is how you will be actually writing your own module and creating your own module. And as of now, let's focus only on get module, import module, and remove module. Those are the things we will be usually using. And once in advanced lessons, we can see how to create a new module, how to actually publish it. Okay, those are all the things. As of now, you don't have to worry about any of those things. Just the same thing, get snapin, get module, import module, add snapin, and then remove module, remove hyphen snapin. That's the three things. Let's try the command. Get hyphen module, hit enter. We see this many commands. I mean these many modules. The same concept. Let's say I want WS man and hit enter. I'll be seeing only that particular one. Okay. And I also could see hyphen all. Okay. Means if something is not here, okay, I'll be showing what does that mean. Okay, I hit enter. Do you see here? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 modules, right? Now I could see more. What does that mean? I'll be showing that. Okay, just give me a minute. I'm doing FL. FL means always getting more information. Now I'm just take two things. One is the name, and the another one is the path name. Okay, path is where actually this particular module is stored. Okay, I open it. Here you see, right, ps read line psm, this one module. This is the PowerShell script module. Okay, and .dll is something usually related to snapping. Okay, all the modules will be in PowerShell script module file format. If you just right click and then open it in the properties, you could see it is in the .psm1, means PowerShell module will be in this extension. That means if you write a PowerShell script, you have to actually store it in this thing. I mean, if you just store it in .psm1, is it going to be change it as a module? No. There are a lot of things needs to be done. Okay. But as of now, just know .psm1 is module, and then if you just do an FL, and if you see where it is exactly located, you can see what are all the modules available in your computer. Now what I'm trying to show here is initially we just got 6 modules, and then we got more modules now, right? Let's say host is available here. Okay, let's see the host here. I'm opening this as well. Okay, now you see here, see Windows 32, see Windows System 32, Windows PowerShell version 1.0. It doesn't matter. Even all the versions will be having the same kind of thing. Module is a folder where all the modules will be stored. Okay, and that is not the only place. Sometimes it will also be storing things in other places as well. Okay, it depends on who's writing your who's actually writing the module, and where they want to store it. The reason why, let's say you are installing an Amazon, okay, or AWS or Azure, it will be installed in C program files, AWS or Azure, right? So the modules will be available only here. It will not be available in the system 32, right? So that's the reason it is available in different places, to make sure we get all, okay, all the modules available in all the places. That is where we'll be using hyphen all. Okay, and if you just type only get hyphen module, it will get it from only the system 32. Okay, these are all the default modules. If you want to display all the modules, this is the command we will be using. So that is the two things, and let us try. Okay, let's try to import something. Okay, you, okay, this sounds interesting. Let's try this. Okay, and you also see what all the commands inside that particular. Okay, on the right side, add content, clear content, all those things, get ACL, add member, all those things. So let me try first this command. I'm trying this command, whether it is already imported or not. I just type connect hyphen ws man is already there. Okay, means already it is available and it is already imported. But just to show you, import hyphen module. Let's take anything, uh, this one, and hit enter, and this will be importing it. And what will happen? Whatever the commands not available before, it will be available once we imported it. Okay, that's all will happen. Okay, that's a whole purpose of importing. That is okay. And one more advantage over snap-in and module is snap-in is something you have to manually most of the time. Okay, most of the time you have to manually add the snap-in, and module is, since it is the almost let's say new concept and everything, or I mean, it is not the DLL based and it is a .NET based. PowerShell has the capacity, or it will automatically, okay, instead of adding manually, automatically check and import all the available modules by default. Okay, this is again, that is the reason why we are able to see this command, let's say connect hyphen ws man. Okay, that's one of the main difference as well. Okay, this you have to definitely add it manually to using add hyphen ps snap-in. This is something most of the time imported, and if at all it is not imported, you just add imported using import hyphen module. That's the only thing. But most of the time it will be, all of the modules will be available and imported by default. And if you wanted to remove it specifically, let us do that now. Now I'm gonna connect hyphen ws man. I type and hit enter. It is available. Okay, it's gonna give an error, but let me see. Okay. Now, anyway, this command is available. How I know? If I just type w connect ws man, it is available. Now, for some reason, I don't want this to be imported. So let's say remove hyphen module, hit enter. It, now let me try connect hyphen ws. So this should be actually removing the module. Okay, and I mean, these are all the core modules. Okay, we may not able to remove it because these are all the core, but this is how we will be removing it. Okay, so removing the module when we don't need a particular thing, that is the snap-in and modules. And what is the difference? Again, I'll put it together. Snap-in and modules, that's the same thing. They all package all the commands into one thing so that we can import it. Anyone can import and use it. Snap-in is a kind of old school model, DLL based, and this one is based on PSM1 or module, which is .NET, very similar to our PowerShell scripts. And we have to manually import all the snap-ins, but here mostly it will be almost 99% will be automatically imported. If at all you need, you can also import it manually, okay, using import command. The difference is you will be adding add hyphen ps snap-in, and the command here will be import hyphen module, remove hyphen module. The last command or important command is, we want to see uh, what module has what command, right? Means we say it's a package of commands, but unless until we know all the commands within that particular let's say module or a snap-in, we will not be able to use it, right? So let's say I know only the module name. I don't know what all the commands within that. If I, even though I type like this, I could see only few of them. Okay, rest of them are are truncated. Even though I type FL, they are still truncated. So how do I know all the commands listed here? That is when this command will be get hyphen command hyphen module and whatever the module name and I want. Okay. I copy and paste and hit enter. This will give all the commands available in my module. Okay. Now remember I copied a command, right? Here. Okay. This is there is there is no direct way, okay, to display all the commands in a snap in. Okay, let's try that. Now let's say get hyphen yes snap in and hit enter, and then let's try get hyphen command. Then in spite of module, do I have snap in? No, right? Okay, so anyway, let me try module and then let me copy and paste it here. Since this is the new one, okay, let's say new in the sense 5.1 and the other version, it is actually supporting. Okay, in previous versions, it will not be displaying. When I say previous 4 and previous version, it will not be displaying. It will not be displaying all the command, and the only way to do is instead of get hyphen module and put it, you will be using this get hyphen ps snapin, whatever the snapin name, and then use the command. Let's say, so that is the alternate command. Okay, and after 5.1 and all those things, that is also again taken care. But if sometimes mostly in your servers, there is very good chance you will be still running PowerShell 3.0 only, because most of the computers will be in server 2003 or 2008 only. That supports only version. I mean that comes with a 3.0 or 4.0. In that case, you will not be able to use this. The previous command. So that is where we will be using this command. So that is all about let's say snap-ins and modules. And you remember said all these modules will be stored in different locations. So what if I want to see all the locations where it is actually getting stored? There is, let's say, a command. Okay, environment variable. You know what is environment variable, right? Environment variable is a variable which will be available common for all the operating system and all the application related to your computer, right? So how do we display that in PowerShell? This is how we will be displaying this. Let me try this here. dir env, this is the command, and if you see here, you will be seeing ps module path. Okay, that is where you will be seeing what all let's say you want. I mean, again, this will be truncated. Okay, to get it, env and colon ps module and then hit enter, you'll be seeing all of them. C uses semicolon and then semicolon and so there are 3 locations. That is where all the modules are stored, and this is again only for the modules. It's not related to the DLL, I mean the snap-ins. Okay, so this is where how we will be seeing all of them. I'll be saving this and giving to you, so you can also see where all these things are getting stored. And that is all about snap-ins and modules. That is very very important. And let's see about PowerShell ISE. Yesterday I could see few of them are using ISE. ISE, what is that? Let's say PowerShell. I see here, right? I could see x86 PowerShell IAC and Windows. So x86 is by default it is 32-bit version, and this is also 32-bit version. IAC is what? Let me open as administrator. IAC is nothing but as integrated scripting environment. Okay, so just give me a minute. I'll open it. Okay. So yesterday I could see few of them. You are trying to do all of the things. I mean, this looks easier, and this also, the exact thing whatever we were doing from the PowerShell console, right? This is console. This is PowerShell IAC, integrated scripting environment. Okay, so here you can almost see very. I mean, you can type the command. Let's say get hyphen. So it will also give you all the suggestions as well, get hyphen service, and then you can just press the run, and then you can see the output here, all those things. But my suggestion, okay, from my experience as well as since you have started learning, is first thing, don't use this. Okay, there is two reasons. One is it is going to help you. Yeah, definitely it is going to help you if I just type get hyphen s, and it is going to give everything, and then I could select and all those things, means it's going to stop me learning, doing from my getting hands on, right? So don't use it till you get comfortable in the console. Okay, as if like you play with unknown environment and then get comfortable with that, and then you come to IAC. There you can increase whatever your capability into 10x actually. So till you actually learn the basic concepts, and then when you are exploring, currently you are in exploring mode, you are not in mastery mode. Even though you go to the mastery mode and then all those things, still I would be suggesting using console. For the second reason is ISE is actually an application, right? And whenever we are application running an operating system, it will be having two things. One is kernel mode, which is where I'm talking about the computer RAM. Okay, kernel operating kernel mode or operating system mode, and another thing is application, right? So this is how everything will be separated, where application mode will be running. This PSC, I mean PowerShell ISC, is an application and will be running here. And when we are opening a command prompt, okay, or Windows PowerShell console, they will be actually running a part of operating system, okay, not in the application mode. Meaning, let's say you are dealing with some huge application where it consumes lot of memory. Let's say you are taking, you are working with thousands of inventory, and then you are getting all the things and then storing everything and then trying to do some manipulation with that and then generate some report. If you are going to do that from here, this applications, every applications will be having, or all the application will be having its own memory restriction, right? If it is going to cross that, let's say your ISC is going to do thousands and thousands of inventory and going to collect all those information and going to store everything in your computer, and then going to do manipulation, it's going to exceed the limit, and then it's going to, if it is exceeded and if it is not able to handle, it's going to crash. Means it has limited limitations. Okay, and when it is in a kernel mode, it will adjust, and then the limitation is little bit, I mean literally it's not limited. Okay, not that much limit while comparing to application. So that is one of the reason why you need to run the scripts from the console instead of running it ISC. Okay, even though we schedule something in the task manager, you will be actually using the PowerShell.exe. Okay, and then you will be running it. So first thing is, don't try to use this if at all you are, I mean, again, this is a suggestion, it is not a strict restriction. You can still go ahead and use it, but you want to get really get comfortable with PowerShell, don't use it. And that are all the two reasons. And this is ISE. To whom don't know about much about ISE, it will be very similar to how we use the notepad, all those things. Benefit is you can save the scripts, and you can run it, and you can run a particular session. You can debug things. Okay, debug in the sense, let's say you have a huge script, you want to stop execution only in particular place and then understand what is exactly happening, run step by step all these things. I mean, this is again not a full-fledged development environment. Okay, full-fledged in the sense, you cannot do lot of things that you can do with a third party as development softwares, which I'll be suggesting you to use. Mm, so Visual Studio is okay, Visual Studio Code. Okay, so this is what uh, one of the very sophisticated one. I store this. Okay, and if at all you wanted to start, okay, start instead of using ISE, start with this one. Okay, it is a free software from Microsoft, and has lot of flexibility, and really good. Not now. Once you are done with this, once you get comfortable with all these basic commands, once you start developing scripts, it will help you to recommend. This is recommended. Okay, use Visual Studio Code, and then you can organize things, run, execute, debug, whatever this does, right? This will be doing more than nearly more than 90% of what it doesn't have actually. Lot of options are there. Okay, it's a kind of full-fledged development environment, not only for PowerShell, but you can also do PowerShell. Okay, so this is the recommended tool. If at all you wanted to go with a graphical user interface, like ISE. Okay, so now we know what is the difference between these two, and don't try to download, use all those things. Don't get confused as of now. As of now, just let's keep it simple, plain, and let's use Windows PowerShell console. Okay, that's all today. So, and what else we have? Okay, that's all I want to cover today, and we covered, and I'll store these things, and then I'll put this file so that you can try things and then do it. And hash table, again, it really depends on whether you wanted to use it or completely ignore it. It is all depends on your call. If you want to use, yes, you can use. I hardly used nearly 4 or 5 times in real production environment for some specific requirement only. Okay, so if at all it is something you are getting confused with or you are not comfortable, don't worry about it. Okay, that is not very important. Okay, and snap-in, what is the difference between snap-in and module? Again, you don't have to worry, because now almost 90% of the things are coming in the modules, means you don't have to import or anything. Everything will be imported automatically, and then you can do the things. Okay, and you don't even have to worry unless until you are in an old version of PowerShell. You don't even have to get the command and then list it. You can just use this get hyphen module, and either snap in or the module name, it will be giving all the names. So, and you understand where it is actually coming from, right? It can be like you and me, anyone can write a module or snap in. I mean, not anymore snap-in, but again, we will be able to write a module, and any vendor, whoever is creating a hardware or software, they will be writing the .NET and then putting as a PowerShell command and packing it as a module or a snap-in, and make it available and publish to everyone, and then we can use it and then download it. It means all these commands will be available and we can execute it and then we can use it. That's all about it. We also seen constants, read only, all those things. So that is all today, and let's end the session today, and thanks for your time, and let's rock and roll.